For 3 years, 3 months, 2 weeks, and 1 day, roughly, I've been working on a project I've dreamed about since I was a child in the backyard playing with foam gliders and rubber band airplanes, to build an airplane of my own and fly it. Starting in 2022, many of you have been right there with me through the thick and thin of this thing as I've learned to cut, shear, rivet, paint, plan, wire, and even operate this thing that I've created. Starting in a long, single-car width garage, I've spent countless late nights, cold mornings, hot days, and exhausting weekends working towards one goal, getting this thing in the air. We've endured delays, bankruptcies, recalls, shortages, and damaged, delayed, and missing shipments. We've seen emotions span all spectrums as I've turned several crates of parts into a working machine. Slowly, aluminum sheets and stock took form, resembling an aircraft more and more, and when the assemblies grew too large, only when they grew too large, did we move them to an off-site larger space, a hangar, my hangar. And there, just earlier this year, final assembly began on 485 Romeo Whiskey, an aluminum aircraft with a 200-mile-an-hour top speed and an 800-mile or so range. A hot rod for 2 people to go on all the adventures I've dreamed of since cracking that first crate. But we're not there yet. While the project is an airplane in nearly every sense of the word, it won't truly be an airplane in my eyes until we get it through one last trial, the first flight. Today, I go from private pilot to test pilot. The airplane becomes just that, and hopefully we both get back down to share the experience. Today, Ryan flies. I'm really kind of bummed. This doesn't happen very often this time of year. It's going to get solid overcast and rain every day, realistically next week, and I'm just not quite there yet. The good news is I got like the best project one could ask for if you're into that sort of thing. So the consolation prize here is still pretty darn good. I get to hang out in my hangar, getting the project of a lifetime ready to rock. I have previously added fire protection to the cowl where the exhaust is in close proximity. Just outside of that, I'm adding some reflective aluminum foil tape. This should ensure that the cowl lasts a long time, doesn't get scorched from the heat of the exhaust. There's a few other things that I need to do. Realistically, there's not much. We may look at some high-speed taxi tests or medium-speed taxi tests. The real purpose behind those is to break in the brakes more than anything else. We'll check ground handling, we'll check for shimmies, but the biggest thing is make sure that my brakes are seated, that they're working well. What I was hoping for was like that reflective gold foil look that you see on like spacecraft and race cars. What I'm getting looks more like Uncle C. Ray's trailer when he tried to stop the government from listening on his phone conversations. So not a lot of airport traffic this morning. I'm gonna take it for a high-speed taxi test. My main goal here, I was never gonna do this. My main goal here is to be able to hit the brakes really hard and see how they function, as well as try to break them in a little bit. I don't even know that high speed is the correct word here. Medium speed taxi test. We'll probably hit 20-30 knots and then lean in on those brakes really hard. Let's give it a whirl.
traffic, RV 5 Romeo Whiskey, taking runway 02 for taxi past Twin Oaks. Boy, that gets going quick.
I passed! Airworthiness. Now, I passed with a list of things that I need to address. They're small things and they're not safety critical, not safety of flight issues, but I did tell the examiner I would fix them before my flight. So I'm gonna hit this thing hard, not only getting all the access panels and everything back together, but addressing some fairly minor things, some cotter pins that need to be adjusted and bolts that need to be flipped around. I have all the faith that I can get it done, which means I'm out of excuses. As of tomorrow, I'm gonna be flying this thing. All right, it is morning, 6-ish. It's like 42 degrees. Here comes Ryan with the weather report again. I left things relatively undone last night in favor of getting some sleep. Which was a valiant attempt, but didn't work out quite as well as I would have liked. There was a lot of tossing and turning. And I'm gonna keep adding screws to this thing until they're all in. We'll see what time that brings us to and how the conditions look for possible flight. Now, admittedly, I've done a pretty rough job of filming up to this point. Getting the plane ready was the priority, and nature's deadline looming. I didn't have a lot of time to slow down. However, the big day was much different. This is something that I'd want to memorialize, something I'd probably want to visit myself years to come, and something I certainly have promised for 3.5 years now to bring to you. Don't get me wrong, this day would have been great. I would have loved it without a single photo, a single second of footage, but what I walked away with blew my mind. You'll take off first. You'll depart first. We'll head out approximately the same time. We'll do a run-up. I'll make an announcement on the radio. There's some inherent risk. So if I have an approach made versus adding a maneuver and another lap around the pattern, I would rather take the main approach and get it safely on the ground if I'm confident than spend more time.
There's this little bracket you can put on this gear, and it's a good jacking point if you gotta change the tire. That was why they changed the other one. Got one of the tires.
Time flies by and I see beyond the distance. Look into the sun's eyes. Love happens.
Instruments over there, outfield on, Oxbat on. All the amps look good. CGT good, CHT good. Fuel showing 1915, that checks.
World's bright again. Home is where we love it.
Clear right, clear left.
Snow falls on this moon sky. Hilltops on this
3 incorrect. Brakes are set. Mechanically latch. Secure. Flight instruments. Altimeter set. Alright. We are doing this. We are doing this. Traffic, RV485 Romeo Whiskey departing runway 02. We'll be orbiting the field at 4,000 feet. First flight, Twin Oaks. Boost comes on. Alive. We're up. Traffic, private Bravo turn left base, runway 02. Pop out. Under not climb out. Cylinder head temps look fine. Traffic, RV485 Romeo Whiskey, turning left crosswind, runway 02, Twin Oaks.
I wish I could say there was some big emotional moment up there in that cockpit when I finally took off, but honestly there wasn't. I was so focused on the instrumentation, on the procedure, and still trying to keep my eyes outside and maintain situational awareness.
RPMs look good, oil pressure looks good, manifold looks good, cylinder head temps in check.
Caution, terrain.
Boy, this is a ride. Traffic, 45 Romeo Whiskey, turning left downwind, runway 02. We'll continue to ascend and orbit the field at 4,000 feet, Twin Oaks. Get these two in check. Lock that in.
It didn't hit for a while. I was so preoccupied reading off instruments and making sure I knew where I was in the sky. It was probably a half an hour before I started to finally loosen up a little bit.
Cylinder head temps have not hit 400. We got 105 knots. Approaching 2,000 feet. Everything feels good. Feels slow. Traffic RV said 6 o'clock shut alpha is upwind runway 14. We're going to extend our upwind for incoming traffic. Gonna lean it a little bit. Traffic uniform turning downwind. We're at traffic 14 and continue to climb. We are climbing. Ascending to 4,000 feet. We'll switch over to frequency 12345. Twin Oaks. Got one hot cylinder. 7 Echo Juliet is up. Hit 424. 425. .428. 429. Continuing to climb, it is the number 2 cylinder.
Once I started chatting with my wingman up there, I really did start to feel more comfortable. It was nice having someone looking over your shoulder.
Echo Juliet, you on frequency? Echo Juliet's up. Got me? Got you loud and clear. I'm moving off at 4,000. Everything's looking good. I got one cylinder head temp that's a little high, but we're doing okay. I'm gonna level off, trim the plane, see if we can get some air over it. Currently doing 127 knots. Trying not to lose sight of the field. Yeah, we had you inside a second ago. We're looking right now. Get you on ADS-B. You're staying well within glide distance of the field, so just keep the orbits going. Got you inside. Field should be up here left side, you know, at your 9 o'clock. I have a field in sight. Where are you at? We are basically in a downwind turning base above the field 4,400. Just behind me off my right somewhere. Behind you off your left. That's on that far left. We got you inside. If things are going well, we'll start to close in just a touch.
Miles.
Feeling pretty good after a while. We started to horse around a little bit, and it was at that moment when I started having fun that I immediately realized I still needed to get this thing on the ground, and that drew a bit of anxiety.
Not only is it my first flight, it's actually my first time flying any sort of formation, so this is great. That's awesome. It's fun. You're moving pretty dang good. Yeah, it's an adjustment. I haven't flown on a V in this airspace, and it eats up this little valley that we have here pretty quick. Yes, it does. I knew you would be at 4,000 in, you know, two laps. Looks like it climbed out great. Good from out here.
Getting down, arguably one of the harder parts of flying, especially in a plane where I'm not as accustomed to getting it slowed down, getting it in the pattern, and then subsequently on the ground. I did a lot of training in doing just that, and we had this procedure talked about, a flight plan where I would do an approach followed by a go around.
Traffic 45 Romeo Whiskey going around.
That having gone incredibly well, we decided it was time to bring it in, and I will say I managed to do a fairly decent landing, which is great because I had more people looking on than I anticipated. It was a marvelous success, every aspect of it. I was incredibly happy. It's a day that I will not forget for a very long time.
Three, two, one. There you go. It's official.
Awesome, dude.
That is good. I love it.
That was awesome.
I could not be happier. Before I get too far into this and people start furiously typing away at their keyboards and writing comments, yes, there are fluids dripping from the plane, from the cowl. No, it is not a concern. It's falling from the sniffle valve. I don't yet have a method for this to be diverted either onto the exhaust or out the back of the cowl, and there's a bit more fluid than we would typically have because I'm in the middle of break-in. But again, it's not a concern. We're okay. Don't worry. Put the keyboard down. With the outcome of today, every single freaking thing has just wound up better than I expected. The help I got from friends, the performance of the airplane, my ability to fly it, just remarkable. My training came in huge. I didn't even know if I was going to take the first flight when I started this project. I knew I wanted to. I went and I got some transition training from a fellow named Chris Droege. He's gonna kill me. I think I butchered that last name, and I asked him like 7 times how to pronounce it. He's out of Nampa, Idaho. He was a wonderful teacher. He set me up for success here. If you are building a project, I highly suggest you get yourself some transition training, and I would do it as late as possible before your first flight. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, there's a lot of great people around here, but he is an awesome one to take a look at. He's not paying me to say that. I'm just really happy with the service. The performance of the airplane it's smooth. Between the engine and the prop, it is just so freaking smooth, and it's fast, and it's stable. And God, how lucky am I? A day like today, for a guy that always finds a reason to bitch about the weather, I got nothing on this day. The feeling of accomplishment is as exciting as the rest of this, to have that on top of it. I mean, like, I feel like a rock star. I feel like $1 million. I went from this weird guy that spent way too much time in the garage and probably had far too much Tylenol as a kid to like just a total badass that's flying a plane he built. What a huge project. Now, for those of you worried, the project isn't over. I have a lot of building to do. I have a lot of rework or things that I have gotten to a state of safe operation, but they're not quite where I want them to be, and we're going to go over how to do those. Fiberglass, cowl, wingtips, I got to get the fairings on this thing. I got to get the interior. I have this beautiful interior that I've got to get installed. I got to get it painted. There is months and months, and I hate to say that, but months and months of work ahead. This winter when I can't fly will be a perfect time to do it. So I want you all to stay tuned as I tackle those projects. But now Ryan actually flies. We're gonna be able to get some flights in, mixed in with the building content. We're gonna go places. I'm gonna get through phase 1 and document that. There is so much cool crap headed your way and my way, and I couldn't be more happy. Now, I gotta clean up some confetti and put this thing away and just let this all sink in. Thanks for watching.